X-Pac 12360. Featuring weekly news, insider commentary, and interviews with superstars, past and present from the world of pro wrestling.
A new day is dawning for DX.
And now, your host, Sean X-Pac Waltman.
Welcome to X-Pac 12360, everyone. Thank you for tuning in again. I hope everyone had an amazing week of pro wrestling indulgence because it was a great one this weekend. Anyways, and what are we going to talk about today, Christy?
Well, it was a very pro wrestling-y weekend here in sunny Los Angeles, where I know you, Sean, were backstage at both Survivor Series and TakeOver, so we're going to get all of Sean's thoughts and hear the juicy scoop on what went on behind the scenes, as much as we can get out of him at least. You know, we're also going to be talking about the one Enzo Amore and the big interruption from Sunday's show. Not only that, but David Arquette had an interesting weekend as well, shall we say, and I know Sean has a ton of thoughts about that. So thank you for coming to hang out with us today. My name is Christy Olson. What's up, Jimbo?
Hi. How's that? Oh, there we go. I'm here. I'm here with my Cassius Ono shirt that he gave out on Friday. He was out at Game Changer Wrestling just giving out shirts to fans.
I saw that online.
Awesome. Loved it. What's up, Denise?
What's up? I'm excited. I like that you said that there's tons of wrestling to talk about because I don't remember a newsworthy week as much as this one in recent times.
Yeah. And you were there, right?
Yeah, I did NXT and Raw.
Yeah, tell me about your weekend. Yeah, speaking of the microphone here, it sounds a lot better when I do that, right? Tell me about your weekend, because I didn't see you all weekend, but I know you were out and about everywhere and did a lot of stuff.
I was actually very excited because, as I mentioned earlier, I got to work with Disney, which was very incredible. It was an opportunity that fell from the sky, and they actually ended up really liking me a lot. I'm hoping to work with them in the future.
So was it involving wrestling, the Disney thing?
No. Oh, is that what you were calling?
Yes.
No,
Did you think the mouse was getting into the biz, Sean?
Oh my God.
That one, I mean, these days, I wouldn't be that big of a stretch.
Yeah, definitely not going to happen.
Okay.
Definitely not. Anyways, just went to NXT TakeOver, had a blast, saw you on the big screen, which, by the way, was funny. I had just checked your Twitter, and I was like, oh, let me see what Sean's thoughts are on the show. And I was like, oh, maybe he isn't watching. And then I look up, and bam, there you were on the screen, and I was like, all right, now we know what's going on.
Yeah, they asked me earlier to come do that.
Did they send you to the WWE Glam Squad for your big close-up?
What do you mean, like makeup?
Yeah.
No. No, they just came and got me out of catering. No, I wasn't in catering. I was up at the gorilla position. I was sitting at the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. That's what it looks like in there. Yeah. But no, I was sitting in there, and they came, hey, we're ready. We've been looking for you. Thought you were going to be in catering. So, yeah, no, we just did that real quick, and it was fun. Lou got some camera time, and everyone seemed like a lot of people liked it. Yeah, yeah. The crowd popped big in the arena, and I don't have any delusions that it was really for me.
There's Lula fan accounts now. If you didn't know, there's Lula fan accounts. I saw them as I was scrolling through Twitter.
There should be. She should be in here right now. Where the hell is she?
Should be.
She's outside, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they introduce you as the host of X-Pac 12360?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That would have been awesome.
So, yeah, no, that was fun. It was nice. It felt good. It's like getting a little taste, you know, of... Anyways. Yeah, it was fun. But what an amazing show NXT TakeOver was, as usual.
Yeah, and I know the guys like having you backstage, too.
I enjoy it. Well, it's just, you know, it's like... I don't like to use the expression old home week, but I just did. You know, it's fun. I go there, and there's Sean and Paul, and, you know, Matt Bloom, and just all these people that, you know, had, you know.
It's a lot of history there.
Yes, a lot of history with all these people. And just watching, you know, when you watch how everything comes together, you know, you've seen it.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes on for all of that to happen, for everyone to be able to, you know, to see that finished product. Like, just I mean, just forget about all the production and the 18 semis full of stuff they have to load in, and all that, and just the actual production aspect of it, and the all the talent, getting what they need to do down, and all of these things that everyone needs to be so sure about, because lives are at risk. The safety, each other's safety. I mean, because we're going out there and doing all this incredibly dangerous shit, and and the bar is raised so high on the things that were done.
Absolutely. And I know that for NXT, they work on those matches in the weeks before at the PC, but of course there's final rehearsals day of. Do you stand ringside for rehearsals? Are you there kind of watching, or do you not want to get spoiled?
It's not like rehearsal. It's like
everybody's working on their matches.
Yeah, it's not like a rehearsal where you go watch a rehearsal of a play or things like that. It's not like no one's going through a dry run of one of these matches, because you can't do it.
Right, but
you're not going to do a dry run of a double moonsault.
They're walking it out. They're walking it out. They're getting their stuff straight. Like you say, they have to be prepared, and that's what they spend time doing beforehand. Are you there for that?
Some of it.
Yeah. Are people asking your advice?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They got there at call time was 11 a.m. So I'm not going to be there at 11 a.m. So that's that. Just to give you an idea what their day's like. That's 11 o'clock, and I mean, we're out here on the West Coast, so it goes. What the show started at 4.
All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take you to this boring place.
Yeah,
what I was trying to get at is before the show, right? All the roster, they are there. They are nervous. They know what they need to do. Are they asking you for advice? Are they seeking you out, X-Pac, as a legendary wrestler who has done this before? And are they asking you, like, dude, what should I do?
Yes, and feedback afterwards.
Yeah. So,
I remember calling up and just telling Gargano what a hell of wow, and not to skip into matches, but
let's do it.
No, we want to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, I remember telling him, and he's like, "Do you have any feedback, any pointers?" I'm like, "Man, the shit you guys are doing right now is so next level, cutting edge. I'm just gonna stand back and enjoy it, and we can pick shit apart, at a later date, if there's anything to pick apart."
Was he happy about that?
What?
That was the advice you gave him. Like, hey man, keep doing your thing, and there's no point in me knocking you down.
Yes. Yeah.
Just keep building you up.
Yeah, because it was just about as flawless of a match, as it gets these days. Not that is always what makes a great match, because you can have things that don't go right in there, and it's doesn't take away. It's just that's what happens out there. It's just I watched that match in particular, and I thought it was the one that I liked the most.
It was interesting because speaking of that, I feel that technically speaking, that was the best match. That was my favorite match. However, I don't think that that's the way the crowd felt, because if you notice, they popped more for the Velveteen Dream match and Tommaso Ciampa. And it was interesting, the two different dynamics, because I even went after the show and I posted on Twitter, I think this match was better, but everybody seemed to love this match that much more. So I don't know, whether it was the story, the hype, the thought that people actually thought Dream had a chance to win. But I just thought how interesting it was that the Gargano match was so good, but the Velveteen Dream match became good because of the fact of the crowd.
Yes, and also the Velveteen Dream character, the persona. Just the relationship between the Velveteen Dream and the NXT fans.
And him coming out as Hollywood Hogan in LA, that was so good. His
the leg drops.
Oh man, everything.
Boy, he even did it like Hulk. He even did the leg drop like Hulk. Oh yeah, that was just like Hulk did it. Hey everyone, we're showing a little B-roll of the highlight of that match. And this isn't probably the highlight at all, is it, Mark?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
There's a lot. This was a hell of a match to be at the arena for. I've always been a huge Velveteen Dream supporter.
Yeah.
So seeing him in this position, in this role, and him being able to eat up the crowd and the crowd eating him up, and Ciampa just denying every single opportunity was so interesting. And Denise, where you say that this match was a lot of people's favorites, they're two completely different matches, and they have two amazing highlights. The technical highlight was that. I think the story highlight was this match, the Dream match, because it was a lot of character stuff.
And okay, just to build up to the match, like if you're watching NXT, which I don't get to see as much as, like probably, I don't know if y'all watch it every week, but I don't
watch every week.
Okay. So like the build up for it's been great. And I think that has a ton to do with why people cared about that match so much. And then they had Velveteen Dream wrestle Lars Sullivan, right? And he got beat, right?
Yeah.
But with interference or whatever. So that usually like gets the fans that think they're in the know thinking, okay, Velveteen Dream's going to win the title. Mm-hmm. And so it was a neat little way, that I just liked how they built this matchup. I thought it was well done, and I thought it was. Okay, let's make them think this, and then we're going to do that. And I don't think that Velveteen Dream not, bringing home the championship, I don't think that hurts Velveteen Dream at all.
He doesn't need it, does he?
I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but, you put it on him, and you just got to figure out how to get it back off of him.
Right. So that he can go to the main roster?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know how in a hurry any one of those guys are to move up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm. Lars Sullivan has been getting the vignettes that he's headed to the main roster.
Yeah, they announced that Survivor Series, and then on Raw they showed another Lars Sullivan promo, so he's probably headed to Raw.
Oh, is that why they did the Keith Lee thing? Are they going to have him put Keith Lee over on the way out the door to the main roster?
More than likely. That seems like the most possible course of action.
Yeah, so anyways, okay, let's just, since I'm jumping around all over the freaking place here. Let's go back to the beginning of TakeOver, the Matt Riddle, Cassius Ohno deal.
Matt Riddle's debut at a TakeOver ends it really quick. One flying knee to the face, and it's done.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was talking to Hunter at the, before that went on. I was like, hey, have you ever seen Riddle and Ohno work, because they've had matches before, and really good ones. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, but they're not going to have a match tonight. And he kind of told me the whole thing, and I like that. I like where they're going with that. It's going to give Ohno something to get like a fire under his ass about, and kind of.
I think the cool part
turn up a notch or two for him.
He's someone who's kind of struggled in NXT the last couple of years, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, he always has,
or having a place found for him,
and it's always going to. I think I think there might always be a little frustration there for him, because sometimes it can't, because I've felt it when we're not used how we feel like we should be used, and it hurts sometimes when. And it shouldn't be anything personal, but this is our life, so it's hard not to take things personal. Mm-hmm. But when the boss or somebody doesn't look at you the way you want them to look at you, they don't see what you want them to see. Like it's not, that they don't like you personally or whatever, but it can feel like that sometimes. And he's great. He really is. God, he's just one of the best out there.
Mm-hmm. And one of those guys that you want in the locker room. He's a leader. He's always dishing out advice. Yep. Even to announcers.
And just such a good, and just always, working really hard out there. But yeah, so that I thought it was a good idea and a really good way to, get Matt Riddle over as, okay, he's kind of carefree or whatever, but bam, he'll take your head off, and he's extremely dangerous.
Do you think it's okay that this match ended with one flying knee, but in the Gargano Aleister Black match there was like 30 flying knees?
It's just fine.
Down? Is it because like Matt Riddle has the UFC caliber under his belt, so that like something like when Big Show throws a punch, it could knock you out? kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
And
also maybe because it was an
sometimes,
impromptu match too. You know?
and maybe the other ones didn't. Maybe the other 29 knees didn't land right.
Okay.
You know, maybe it was took that 30th one and get him right on the button.
All right.
Different match. Yeah. Sometimes we overanalyze things a little too much.
Oh, I was just about to ask you a question that may be overanalyzing, but someone like a Matt Riddle, you've known him before he went and kind of on his journey to NXT. How do you think he's fitting in there?
He's fitting in fine because he's just doing, his thing, and they're letting him do it. They're not like, people will give him advice. Or not advice, say, oh, when you go there, they're gonna take this from you, do that, and none of that. They're just letting Matt Riddle be Matt Riddle. Barefooted, bunny, flip flop, slipper, whatever he wants to come to the ring. They're just letting him be Matt Riddle, and that's a really, really smart way of doing that.
Well, I think that's an example of what we saw happen, because when Matt Riddle came out, he came out to a superstar reaction.
Yes.
And then after, with how quickly everything went through, he came out to me a bigger star.
For
so
sure.
you'll already know, like, even if you're a fan that's just, I don't know, just watching or something, like, okay, this guy, they're doing something with him. It doesn't take too much to realize that. So I think that's the cool part about this whole thing.
Yeah. And so let's keep going here. Help me out, everyone.
All right, well, we had that 2 out of 3 falls match with I almost just called them ladies. The women of NXT champion Shayna Baszler. I wouldn't call Shayna Baszler a lady to her face.
She don't dig
Just
it?
saying, I don't think so.
Okay.
But you were digging that match, though, is that right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I just think that, and Shayna's a killer, and she does. Oh my God, she pulls it off so good. Well, because it's so believable, and like I've talked about her, her progress before, and I've watched her evolve her style, and her style has meshed a little bit more with the actual, the style of pro wrestling. There's some rope work involved. Every now and then you're going to find yourself on the top rope. Those things happen. And I think she's adjusted nicely to that without compromising her thing, and that's something, going back to Matt Riddle, that I think he is really good about. But anyways, that being said, Kairi Sane's a lot smaller than Shayna, and nonetheless, like, it's been so believable. Like, I totally believe that she has a chance.
She moves at lightning speed.
Yeah. And I thought the match was just so well done, and I was expecting it to be that good, honestly. And I love the finish. Actually, the finish with the double crucifix. Yeah, that was the finish I beat Ted DiBiase with. Actually, I use that finish a lot.
Did you come off the top rope?
No.
You swung around.
No. DiBiase put me out, like, with the $1 Million Dream, and then I was laying there, and he took his time to cover me, and he laid his back on me, and then I rolled him up like that. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I loved how she hit the elbow, looked so good, and then oh no, she rolled her over. It was great.
It was a little confusing in the crowd, but because once everybody thought that Kairi won, and then when Shayna's music hit, everybody was like, wait, what happened? Because the 2 rings had a little bit of an issue with visibility, but I love that Shayna returned the favor in using her finish against her to get the victory. What a great match.
I love that you mentioned that, Mark, because I was in the audience, and when the whole thing happened, I thought exactly what you said. I was like, wait, I was like, what happened here? Oh man, I totally missed that finish. But I wanted to add that the cool part of what made this match was the heat that this match created. Yeah. It created so much heat that I think it made it that much better, that even though the fans didn't like Shayna winning, they were excited. And the fact is that this program still feels so fresh, and that you're going to see them again, and you're looking forward to it,
Yeah, what have they had 2, 3 matches? This is the third. I
think this is the 4th. The first one being the finals.
Mae Young
of the
finals.
Classic.
Okay, yeah, counting that one.
Yeah.
So I still have an appetite for another one of those, actually.
Well, and I think the next step in this is involving the 4 horsewomen and maybe doing some kind of tag situation, building to eventually having all 4 of them come to face Becky, Charlotte, Sasha. Bayley.
Also, I'm getting some high praise for Jessamine Duke. Actually, that she's got. Anyways, yeah, she's doing fantastic from what I hear.
Oh, and that's praise coming from you or from others?
No, from others.
Oh.
So yeah.
She hasn't been there long.
Nope. So good for her.
She looks like a natural, though.
Yes, apparently she is.
All of them have that feel. My favorite thing in this match was the no-look moonsault from
Oh my
Sarai.
gosh, that was incredible. It looks so beautiful.
So beautiful, and just trust. She never turned to see that they were there ready to catch her. She just hopped up there and did it.
Are you showing me? Are you showing that picture of Lula and Kari Sane and I?
I can. I'm about to.
Oh, I thought you were already doing it. Yeah, just go ahead and throw that shit up there, Mark.
You got it.
And whenever you want, whenever we're talking about stuff, I don't care. It's up to you.
So,
Oh, Kyrie.
yeah, she was so excited to meet Lou. She loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think we're gonna maybe. I was thinking about doing maybe for the YouTube channel doing a Lula show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Maybe pitch it to the network.
That'd be awesome.
That's so cute.
We should get some Lula merch too. Lula pins.
Yes. A t-shirt or two. Sean, did you have any other thoughts on the Gargano and Black match or Velveteen Dream and Ciampa? Touched on it a little bit.
I don't know what to say about like Black and Gargano other than just, wow, they have great chemistry together. I was expecting it to be good, but I mean it was so good. And I think they might have touched one other time. I don't think they've had really any matches before that. Then, used to be, some people already know this, when we would have a pay-per-view match, we would have 2-3 weeks a month, even, sometime we would have 24 matches or a dozen warm-up matches with the guy before we actually had a pay-per-view match with them. Mm-hmm. Going back to the WrestleMania 10 ladder match with Sean and Scott, they had 15 of those. Mm-hmm. And some of them were better than the actual WrestleMania 10 match.
Wow.
Yeah. None of them. None. Probably not one. No.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Then none of that's filmed.
Yeah.
And
So
any preference as the performer, whether you want to be involved in something that's that kind of elongated before the pay-per-view and get that practice in and really get down what goes over with the crowd and all that? Or would you rather just go out cold like these two did?
It's nice to have a warm-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it doesn't involve, going out there and
Doing the double
getting
moonsault.
hurt. Yeah. So.
Well, that's left that we haven't talked about is the actual War Games match, which was really, really crazy, actually. Ricochet, Pete Dunne, War Raiders defeated the Undisputed Era. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was just off the charts. Okay. Because, each, the matches before it were so good. Okay. And then this thing was just, War Games is a spectacle anyways. And so it's just that aspect of it, there's a few highlights right now. But I just thought it was just laid out and just such a masterfully done. It was a masterpiece, maybe is the right word to use. All the different, segments of the match, and how they, I'm not being very articulate here right now.
Well, maybe that just lends to how awesome it was.
What do you think,
there
Marcus?
are no words.
For War Games?
Yeah, man. Like, I dare you to chime in here since you were there.
With War Games, I think some of the structure of 5 minutes, then 3 minutes, and various things hurt it a little bit. Only a little bit, especially live, because they took away the countdown clock so that people in the crowd wouldn't count down every minute like they did for the Iron Man match earlier this year.
Oh my God, let the crowd do something once in a while. Jesus.
But once everybody got in there, it was just boom, boom, boom into the and everybody had a chance to really work. The strategy was at play for Undisputed Era. If you followed the show, then you knew exactly what Undisputed Era had in store. So it was, how is the other team going to rise to the challenge? And I think that they did that in spades.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the first half of the match, it almost seemed like it was just guys taking turns, doing their moves, no real actual story. But then once all the 8 guys actually went in, like you said, Mark, that's really when it actually kicked off. So I know that the first portion of this match, I kind of felt like, some people were not as into it, as maybe you would be at a War Games. But then at the same time, that they were pacing themselves, trying to get everything going. But then again, once all the 8 guys were in there, it was just like nonstop.
Yep. And, I was sitting there in the gorilla position. At that point, I was next to Gabe Sapolsky talking about, we were discussing this. And he was saying, I heard rumors that might, Ricochet double moonsault. I don't know if they're going to do it, but.
Like he hasn't been sitting at the big desk at the PC all week long listening to the plan for the match. Come on, Gabe.
Yeah, but okay, it's not like they rehearsed it like I was talking about earlier. It's not like, so, talking about Gabe wasn't out there when they were going over it. So, I mean, he had a good idea, and so it wasn't a huge shock that it happened, but I was still just completely blown away. Look at that. It's just, that takes such huge balls. Like, because I'm afraid of heights anyways. And also add on top of it, like going backwards. That's why I couldn't do a good moonsault like that. Like I can do anything forward, forward flip, forward somersault, anything, any of that stuff. But going backwards was an issue for me. So that just, anytime guys can do things like that, I'm just like, okay, wow. But,
it's incredible.
Okay, so Warbeard Hanson, man,
Definitely
holy
the
shit!
MVP of this match. I wrote my notes.
Yeah,
I loved everything he did. He came in hot, hit all his signature moves. At one point, he even took the cage to the face, and then on the bounce back got German suplex.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah,
he even does the Bronco Buster.
He did it, and it was great. Yeah, double, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Did you talk to him about it at all?
No, but I really enjoyed watching him out there, and. Stood out to me, and it's hard to stand out in a match like that with all of those guys out there.
8 guys, yeah.
Yeah, because some of the best guys in the whole world are in that one match. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the very best talent. Like honestly, if you have a top 10 guys, technically, the best technical wrestlers, quite a few of them.
Yeah,
are in that match alone.
They're in one of those 2 rings.
Yeah, and so Warbeard. You know what? I could never do a lot of the stuff that guy does.
Really?
Ever? No way, man. I wouldn't even have tried some of that shit. Yeah.
Even though he's twice.
Yeah, he's more than twice.
That's
shit.
Crazy.
So okay. I mean, it's just it never ceases to amaze me the things I see out of people these days.
Well, you said you did a lot of the forward rolls. You ever do a 450?
No.
Okay.
Don't be silly.
Well, I'm visualizing you doing the cannonball flips and stuff. I didn't know if you ever went for the full 450.
No, because it was like I don't know. Yeah, no.
I loved how everyone wore the paint, the war paint. Like the whole team. It reminded me of old school Survivor Series when someone would be on a Survivor Series team with someone like the Ultimate Warrior, and then they would all wear face paint because that was the team captain or whatever. What do you think about them locking Pete Dunne in the cage at the end?
I really like that. I like that. Like that was part of what I was going to say as far as just the story of the match. Mm-hmm. Like Act 1, Act 2, like a play almost. In there.
So that when the match actually started, that was like, here's your final act of the play.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like the big final battle scene in Game of Thrones last year.
Spoiler alert.
No, last year.
Okay.
The fucking last season.
All right.
It was this huge, massive. I don't know if that was the final episode, but you remember the big battle? You know what I'm talking about? Game of Thrones? Anyone here?
Yeah.
Come on, help me out here, Marcus.
No, I haven't seen that one show.
Holy shit.
So.
Don't watch it.
Oh my God, nobody fucking Game of Thrones.
We may be the 3 only people in the world that don't watch.
Shit.
I don't know how you ended up with us, Sean. Sorry.
Anyways, it's just like the grand finale and a fireworks display, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah, it was fucking great. Oh my God. So, I said this in a tweet. I said this last takeover, and it holds true. NXT takeovers always follow the last one, and quite often top the last show. They at least always follow it, which is amazing, unheard of. You know?
What about the differences in the crowd? Because when I was sitting there, I just felt a big difference in the people that were there and the energy that was there for NXT TakeOver versus any of the other shows, whether it was Survivor Series or whether it was Raw or etc. I feel that the audience is so engaged at the NXT shows because they know that each match is going to bring something and it's going to deliver something different. And I kind of felt that that's something that really, really helped the show was, you know, obviously the audience and whatnot. But I just felt like it was such a difference. And I remember sitting there and just thinking like, man, I haven't felt this way in a really long time at a live wrestling show.
The NXT, they're able to cater to their specific, you know, fan base. They know what it is and they cater to it and they write their show for it. The main roster, the SmackDown and the Raw, there's a lot more that goes into everything, and they're trying to please everyone.
And there's a lot
everyone watching.
more casual fans.
You know what I mean?
of Raw
Yeah,
SmackDown.
casual fans, kids, this, that. You know, the people that like, you know, the comic relief shit. Like, you know, it's just, it's not. You can't target like, okay, we're writing for these people because they're not. They're writing for a broader audience.
Yeah.
It's different. It really is. That's why it's so much better of a show. It just, it's, you know, and like you said, you got four. What was it? One, two.
It was
three, four,
five.
5 matches. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could actually cover all the matches.
And we still got time to talk about
We're going to Survivor Series.
one. Oh,
Why don't we take
Oh,
a
what?
break before? Well, let's take a break before we head on to Survivor Series.
All right, let's take a break. All right, we're back. And you know how I am about full disclosure on the show. This is take 2 of this segment for a couple different reasons. One is I had to go to the bathroom. 2 is I didn't like the way the segment was going when we taped it the first time because I was all over the map. You know, my brain's I'm a little scatterbrained this afternoon, and so I figured we could do this again because it's my show, and I'm the boss. And so I'm gonna hand it over to you, ladies.
All right, well, after an incredible NXT TakeOver, which we just raved about, we had the main show, which was Survivor Series 8 matches. But let's go ahead and go over the highlights of the show, starting off with the pre-show match, which was the Usos, the New Day, Sanity, the Good Brothers, the Colognes, defeated the Revival, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Lucha House Party, the Ascension, the B-Team. Why did I name all the teams? I don't know why. I don't know why. It was just too many of them.
Props for knowing all those names.
Yeah. It was a good match. It was entertaining. It was a night, you know. People say, okay, should have been on the main show. It was on the show, okay? Okay, like in our heads, it matters. Okay, hey, like technically we're not considered on the main show, but if you give me that fresh crowd, that fresh hot crowd, and the pay is the same regardless, I don't give a shit. If you tell me I'm in the pre-show or the first match on the main show, if the pay is the same, whatever. And it was a nice match. It was really rushed in a lot of, you know, early on trying to get through some of those, you know, eliminations. And that happens quite a bit, you know. But I think they, you know, the certain guys in there were able to slow things down and, you know, and get it at a more, you know, less frantic pace. It's hard. It's really hard when a match starts out in a frantic pace like that to slow the pace down. Like you have to have something like a finish or a guy gets cut off or something. But there's just so many people involved. It's totally understandable how this thing could have ended up being paced like that. But they slowed it down. You know, so many great teams out there in that match. Usos, obviously, one of the greatest teams in the world. I thought that was a remarkable spot with the German suplex up the top rope to the floor onto everyone. One of the Usos. kind of scary to me. I'm not going to go into why. Anyways, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, one of the other matches that was was talked about, not specifically just because of the match, but because of the ending of the match, which was the women's elimination match. Yeah. What did you think about that, especially with Nia Jax being the sole survivor? Exactly how I would have done it. Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Mm-hmm. I thought you know, everyone looked pretty good in there. To me, the ones that I thought Asuka stood out to me for some reason. Well, not for some reason, because she did great.
She's Asuka.
Yeah. It was a lot going on, obviously, in these matches, and you know, everybody's got to get their shit in, and I thought everyone got their shit in, and it didn't look like everyone was just trying to get their shit in, for the most part, which is a good thing. But a seasoned vet like you can tell. Yeah, and yeah, good stuff. And I just thought that it was nice to see, you know. Some real heel heat. I hate how we ended up with it. Yeah. Obviously, on Nia. But that's what you call like the kind of heel heat that you don't see anymore, because that's not what they're trying for these days. With sponsors and all this, we're not going for that real old school, like, you know. I don't want to get into what, you know, the kind of shit that we used to do in wrestling to get heat, you know. We know. You know, well, just 2 weeks ago, Sean, we were talking about this, about the fact that there is no real heel heat anymore, thanks to social media, which was one of the factors of that. With Kevin Sullivan. Exactly. But one of the things that, when you just said it, it reminded me of, you know, the whole Nia Jax, Becky Lynch thing and the injury and all of that. Yeah. It almost reminded me of what happened on Impact with Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards. You know, sort of that, you know, that accidental, you know, error that happened, and then Sami going on Twitter and saying, like, I'm not going to apologize. And that's sort of what Nia Jax did too when she tweeted, no one's going to ask me about how my fist feels. And I feel that pissed a lot of people off. Even I got a little triggered. Good.
It's okay. It's okay,
good.
Denise.
Hey, good. You know what? Like, if once you get something like this that happens, you know, capitalize on it. You know, run with it. And, you know, yeah, it's going to piss people off. Fine. It's okay. You know, I mean, yeah, welcome to, like, what it used to be like when wrestling fans were mad at bad guys. You know, and that's what it used to be like, Denise. How's it feel?
It feels, you know what? I was a little upset. I was like, oh, I can't believe she put that. And then I was like, Denise, stop it. Like, you know better than this. But I still couldn't help it to get a little upset.
How about this, Denise? Don't stop it.
There you go. And let it breathe. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Just do it. Yeah. And just react. And you know, yeah, just let it happen. You know, we don't have to know how the sausage was made all the time, and we don't have to know everything. You know, everyone's just so, like, everyone's starving to know all the inside scoop, and, you know, how David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear, which I figured out, but that's a whole other story.
You can tell us later.
Well, another thing that people were, you know, pretty upset about, and I guess you can say this was something that you did not expect to happen, which was Enzo Amore coming and trying to hijack the show during the AOP and the bar match. Like, I don't know. What did you guys think about that? He came in, he was sort of undercover, hiding behind a hoodie, and the next thing you know, he's yelling off at the top of his lungs, doing a promo in the second row, and then he gets tackled down by security. Yeah.
So, okay.
I've been dying to hear your thoughts on this, Sean.
Yeah, me too.
Well, because, you know, some people might want to compare this to, say, like, our invasion of WCW or something like, you know,
the
just
XPW guys showing up at E-Wave 98 in the front row. And
nobody knows what you're talking about, Jimbo.
Yeah, and in 20 years, they're not going to know about what we're talking about this either.
I bet someone out there listening.
Yeah, I'm sure, but, like, that's a pretty obscure reference. Guys, like, showing up and... Yeah, like the XPW guys showed up.
People that aren't contracted.
They got their asses beat, didn't they?
People that aren't contracted showing up at another show to get themselves over by standing up and making a scene during a main event. And then, the ECW locker room cleared out and all those guys got the shit kicked out of them.
Pretty bad, I heard.
Yeah, that's, from what I heard too.
Yeah. But So, okay. It's just that it was a harebrained scheme. Like, that's not how you do it. Like, if you're gonna do something like that, you don't come in and like sit there like, okay, I'm waiting for my, sit in that seat waiting for your, I'm not sure exactly what he was waiting for, but okay. So I was in the back, and they figured out right away because everyone started tweeting like pictures of him,
Yeah.
So they knew. And as soon as they sent security, and first of all, so now they know he's there, so there's no way he's getting on any camera time because they're going to make sure that, that the cameras are not going to be on him. They know right where he's at. And so they sent security. As soon as he sees security, I guess that's when he got up on the
chair.
On the chair, and that's when she's my favorite of their security is her name's Lisa.
Woman?
Yeah, her name's Lisa.
Yeah,
and she's great, and she's she loves Lou.
Aww.
And she was like wondering where Lou was, and I was like, I didn't bring her today. But anyways, yeah. So Lisa yoked him down off of the chairs, and I think jacked him up against the wall in the back.
Yes.
And anyways, she got a standing ovation from the talent in the back. It's besides the fact that it was incredibly disrespectful to everyone in the match.
Yeah.
That was done to. Okay, putting all that aside, if you're gonna go do that, you don't go. You just go in when you're ready to do it. You go in and you do it. You don't wait. So I mean, it wasn't he did get some publicity out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's not like, okay, he's this beloved figure in the wrestling industry. I think the whole thing would have been, received a lot better by the wrestling community. I just don't think anyone likes Enzo.
They don't, and
Yeah.
we got a little peek inside his head actually last night. He had a show here in Los Angeles, and when he got on the mic, he said, I can't thank you enough for coming here today. It means the world to me. They took away what I love more than anything in the effing world, and I refuse to let them take my voice. I'm up against a giant right now, but I'm the only MFer with the balls to go against that giant, and that's a fact.
Give me a fucking break.
Right?
Yeah, give me a break, man.
Yeah.
Like I usually don't because I know him a little bit. I know Enzo a little bit, and he actually reached out to me sent me a text about trying to book the Roxy for that night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just wanted.
You just hands off.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't even want to say anything bad about. I try not to even comment on it, but like, come on, man.
If he asked you for your advice right now as to what the next step should be for him?
I can't. No, I'm not giving advice to someone that doesn't take advice.
Oh. Do you think his relationship with WWE is irreplaceable, like not fixable now after what he did with trying to hijack the show?
Look, he wasn't going back before that.
Right.
So whatever. But like, here's the thing. You're not up against a giant because the giant doesn't consider that you're not even on their radar, man. Like even now, okay, you're barred from the Staples Center. Here's they didn't even make that
the picture.
No, the Staples Center did that on their own.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They completely forgot about him by the next day on the different shit. So
they're
no,
not worried.
there's no war. Like maybe you can try to make this imaginary thing that, I'm up against this giant. They took this from me. No, you took it from yourself by the way you handle yourself, yeah.
One more question. There were reports that there were police backstage after this altercation talking to Liv Morgan about possibly taking out a restraining order against him. Did you see the police there? Did you see any of those conversations going on?
No, and I can't comment on any of that. I didn't even know that they had a past relationship or anything like that.
Yeah,
I just feel bad like that, how does someone even
It's sad. It's sad all around.
Well, I just feel like I was trying to figure out, like, at first, okay, I feel like he did it as a way to sort of do it for, like, publicity and promote his upcoming show, because it was just a few days after that. But then you go back, and I think it was the 15th, where he was kicked off the plane for vaping, and then he went on Twitter and said, apparently you can't vape inside the Staples Center. And I was just kind of like, all those things aren't adding up to where I'm wondering now if this is more of something where he's having sort of like a
meltdown?
breakdown, after what he's been through with the company. He might be like, oh, I lost it all, and now he's reacting to all of that,
It could be. It could be. And, when somebody has a huge narcissist complex when their world starts falling apart, it's just, poor me, I'm the victim, and everyone's out to, get me, and, I'm a victim of the criminal justice. Actually, the criminal justice system worked for you because you're not in jail right now.
That's true.
An investigation happened and they found out there wasn't enough evidence. So even if you did do it, the system worked in your case. You're not a fucking victim of it.
I think if his goal was to draw publicity and get attention, he would have been better suited to do kind of what like the Being the Elite did when they semi-invaded Raw and just all was like, hey, we're all going to be at this hot topic. Come meet us there. Hey, Raw's right down the street. Let's all go walk together. If he would have showed up somewhere and been like, who wants like one of my free T-shirts or wants a sneak copy of my new album?
No, but the difference is people like those guys. People like those, the young bucks. They're good people that don't do fucked up shit, that are good for the industry. So you're going to get behind them trying to do something like that. You're going to think it's funny. Some people did like this, and it's something to talk about, but like when you really look at it, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid.
At the same time, wrestling fans that are there are going to be excited that there's a guy I used to see on TV, and he's willing to take a picture with me, and he's doing this. So they're going to crowd around him, and that would have been the hype he wanted. I think he was waiting till the Cruiserweight match, but it was getting shared on social media, so he figured, like, I got to do this now, especially seeing security before they pull me out, and this is a huge waste.
I'm so glad he didn't do it during that match, because that would have been like very irritating.
Well, and even the match he did it in, like what the AOP, you could see one of the AOP guys staring dead at him. Like, how do those guys not get out of the ring, Cesaro style, and rip him in half like a beach ball?
Well, yeah, and you think about it, like had it been like another guy or a person with a different type of personality, they might have been like, dude, what the heck,
Like if it was Neville.
Hey, here's the thing. I'm done talking about that shit.
Okay.
He's gotten enough X-Pac 1, 2, 3, 60 time. Right. Fuck that.
Well, moving on then, something that was also maybe a little bit unexpected, but was very much talked about, which was Ronda versus Charlotte. But it wasn't specifically, again, the match itself. It was more of the aftermath of what happened with the whole beatdown, and then the way that, Ronda sort of came about from that, and then how the crowd reacted. The crowd was not having it with Ronda. Personally, I think because they essentially, Charlotte did the Pillman spot. Had she just, been stretchered out, Ronda Rousey, I don't think that the crowd would have reacted this way, but I don't know. What were your thoughts?
So you're telling me you think that the crowd turned on her because she didn't get stretchered out?
I think so. I think, like, had she, like, actually, like, stayed there, she wouldn't have actually, like, walked out. They wouldn't actually have booed her.
I didn't think about that, actually. But, I mean, it was talked about whether she should walk out or not. So it's not like something that wasn't discussed. But I would, regardless. Although, like, what, that is I thought that could have been sold a lot more, even, considering what they did with the chair on the neck and all that. Like, so, that could have probably been sold more. But it was just an amazing match. It never ceases to amaze me. And obviously Charlotte, it goes without saying how great Charlotte is. Yeah. But just, geez, Ronda's like, and I hear people go, like there's some debate back and forth about, she's not really that great. Bullshit. Bullshit. You cannot like what she tweets. You cannot like, some of the promo she's done lately or the, whatever, but bullshit. If you don't think that when the bell rings in there, like bell to bell, that she is, I mean, light years ahead of where she should be right now. Light years. I mean, you see a couple little things here and there, but and honestly, like the beating she took, and that's probably the worst kendo stick beating I've ever seen in the wrestling industry.
Wow,
and,
that's saying a lot.
Yeah, and I took the worst one
in Mexico.
In Mexico before that, I was Zorro did it. They came out in the Cuervo, the guy that got hit with the brick. Did you see that shot?
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah,
on
those
Twitter.
guys, they came out and they duct taped me to the ring ropes with my back exposed, and I got whipped with the kendo stick, and I was told Zorro, I said, if I tell you to hit me harder, harder. But the tip of the kendo stick came off, so the very tip was exposed, the bamboo, so it was ripping my skin. And so I was telling him to stop, and he said he thought I kept saying harder, harder. Because, the crowd was going crazy. I was just a complete bloody mess. It was disgusting, actually. People were like horrified by it. Yeah, it might have been a little too much. I'm not gonna lie.
In Mexico,
yeah.
It might have been a little too much. So that's saying something right there.
So Rhonda's looked worse than mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Her welts and bruises when she was trying to get off the ring, and you could see the medic go to touch her, and she's like, "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! I got this." She looked bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Huh.
It ain't ballet.
So this match was one of just such a great match. I don't know what else to say about it. I really both of these last two matches were just so good. I mean, these two matches alone carry the whole pay-per-view just fine as far as I'm concerned. Well, if every other match sucked, that's what I meant by that. If every other match sucked, but those two matches, I'm still I'm a big fan of this fucking pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Denise brought up a good point. Do you think that this would have been the ending had she faced Becky?
I have no idea. None.
And any thoughts on where this is all going now? What this means for a Mania match?
No, but I think it kind of okay, people are starting to talk about, obviously Becky's on fire, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe a lot of the spotlight was leaving Charlotte. Now I'm kind of going, okay, some of that spotlight's back on Charlotte again.
Yeah.
There's plenty of spotlight to go around as long as somebody's,
when
bringing
they're all
it.
doing this well, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, great for her. Psst. The women are showing the men how shit's supposed to be done. I dig that.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So moving on, which was Brock Lesnar defeated Daniel Bryan, and this match actually was, a lot of people are absolutely loving this match, mainly because of the story that it told.
Tremendous. It was brilliant. Brilliant. And, it's so hard to follow what they had to follow. With all of that. And how they did it, that's exactly how you follow something like that. You don't go out there panicking. Okay, we just, we're following that. We got to do something to get the people. No, you take your time. Nice and slow. And it's exactly how they did it, there was a bit of stalling and, started real slow. And, then obviously everyone saw the match. I don't have to go through every freaking thing that happened in the match, but, it got uncomfortable at some point, right?
Yeah.
And then the kick to the balls, and then the shit's on, right? And it was just so good. So good. And after that kick to the balls, anything can happen. It's okay, and honestly, right until Daniel Bryan lost, I thought he had a chance. And I'm sitting right there in gorilla position watching it with, everyone, and even the people that knew what was happening are into it and on the edge of their seats, So that's how great that match was. And hats off to Brock. You hear things about Brock and probably all true. Who knows about whatever. I mean, the guy's he's a freak, and what he brings to the table, like. I'm just rambling here, folks. I'm just rambling here.
All right, praise for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty major. Getting praise from you, Sean.
Not really.
Yeah, it is.
You think?
Stop.
Well, you spoke earlier about panicking. Another show this weekend had David Arquette on it, and he had a panic moment where.
Well, you think? I don't think. Like, okay. You don't have to be new. Like, okay, you can be wrestling 25 years, and somebody fucking slices your fucking jugular vein with a broken light tube. You'll probably panic too. You know, I get it. I really am not. I pissed me off watching that. I wasn't happy. Like, and. Look, I understand, like, on paper and how we put these things together, but, like, how did they think that was really going to turn out? Well, I mean, I don't know. I just...
You think it went too far?
It did. It went way too fucking far. Way too far.
Well, Arquette, he did post on his Twitter the long paragraph that he posted. He posted that he did not know the extent of which this match, you know, how it was going to really all play out. And he even took full responsibility. He apologized to the sport of wrestling for any negative attention that it brought back. And he said that if he does come back in the near future, that he will not be doing this sort of match, but that right now his full attention will be on acting.
I talked to him. I saw him outside the Staples Center after... during NXT, he didn't stay the whole time. I was out taking Lou, you know, I had to take her outside for a bathroom break. And so I saw him outside and we talked briefly. Yeah, the neck thing wasn't supposed to happen.
Okay.
That wasn't supposed to happen. So regardless of what, I mean, he told me that himself. And look, it's nice of him to say that, put that statement out, you know, try to take the heat off of whatever.
Nick Gage.
Yeah, and I'm sure Nick Gage is a good guy, but sometimes we go too far. Sometimes we make mistakes. Like our Game Changer Wrestling, like the promoter put out a statement, you know, just kind of defending everything. Look, it was wrong. It was, in hindsight, it was a bad decision. Bad decision, and especially like the decisions and the choices made during the match. But you know, it's okay. In 2018, I don't understand what the problem is with somebody actually just admitting, hey, okay, yeah, this thing went too far. You know, you know, it's okay to own shit and admit like we made him. You know, mistake or, you know, something like that, as opposed to doubling down on bullshit. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Do you think right now with so much competition and so many there's so many talented guys out there doing all of this crazy stuff that everyone feels they have to top one another?
Yes.
And do you feel like maybe that's like what went wrong? They just took it too far with somebody that, you know, wasn't, you know, prepared to go into a match like that, you know?
Just get worked up, things, you know, people, I don't know. You were there, right, Chimbo?
I was there, yeah.
And would the people get worked up into a frenzy?
People were super into it, and everyone was looking forward to David Arquette coming out and, like, fighting Nick Gage because no one knew what would happen. But then, yeah, once it became more of a death match than a wrestling match, fans were into it, especially when David hit, like, the diamond cutter through the light tubes. People were like, oh, cool. But you could see as soon as things changed, and it got scary, and fans didn't know what to react to. Like, hey, this isn't cool. Like, we shouldn't be cheering this. Is this guy okay? He should go. He needs a medic. What's going on?
So what happened with like, what was Nick Cage's deal in there?
Nick Gage. So Nick Gage
Nick
breaks
Nick Gage.
He breaks a light tube over his head in like a camel clutch position, and he went to pretend to like carve his forehead. Dave grabs both his legs and pulls them out from under him, so he ended up carving his forehead and cutting his neck. When Dave realizes his neck's cut, he turns around and grabs Nick by the throat and is like, dude. And then you could see Dave get up and leave the ring because he doesn't know what to do. And then he decides to come back to the ring and kind of goes for a pin, And then Nick, probably thinking like, I'll hit you with these light tubes and that'll be the finish, hits Dave again with light tube. Dave gets pissed, hits him with the chair. They start going back and forth again. Nick hits a hip toss and pins him. Dave gets right back up and walks right out of the ring. And then was walking out with Luke Perry, and him and Luke Perry are talking, and Luke Perry's like, you need to go to the hospital, man, right now. And they just left. So all the Game Changer people were like, where'd David Arquette go? Oh, he just left? So none of them knew how pissed he was, what the situation was. It was very scary. On top of the match before that, someone shattered their leg. Marco Stunt got injured. Yeah, so it was just a night of crazy reactions and fans not knowing, like, is this part of the show or not?
Okay, so look, and to what you were asking me, Denise, okay, there's so much competition, right? And a lot of indie wrestling, it kind of is blended. Like, you sometimes you can't tell one show from another because a lot of the talent is interchangeable on all these shows. And so, and I respect what they're trying to do and bring something different. It's a niche, you know. It's like not mainstream wrestling by any means, and no one, like, they're not saying it was. And like I don't even have a problem with the death match thing. It's not my cup of tea, but I don't begrudge someone from liking that. Like, it's just like different types of porn. I hate to say it, but, you know, there's people have their kinks, right? And I might not like that shit, bondage or, you know, but, you know, whatever. It's your thing. But just, come on. Like, sometimes we can go too far. That's all I'm saying. You know? And how about just saying, okay, yeah, that went too far.
Well, yeah, and I think because it went too far, it overshadowed so many good things that happened at the show. Like Jungle Boy, Luke Perry's kid, had an amazing show-stealing match, and Hardcore Holly versus Brody King was a really good match. D'Lo Brown killed it against Ethan Page. So this was a really good and fun show until people didn't know, like, what is supposed to be happening here? And like, I shouldn't be cheering this. I should be worried, or should I not be worried because this is part of the show?
It's like to me, it's like snuff. It got to the point where it's like, okay, it goes from, you know, hardcore porn to snuff almost.
And you're like,
So, all right, that's all. Like, and I just want to say, like, I want to encourage Game Changer Wrestling to keep doing their thing as far as bringing something different, you know, to wrestling. But, like, own your shit, you know, move forward, you know, don't make bullshit excuses, and just go, you know. We're going to keep trying to bring you guys some crazy out there shit, and hopefully we don't, you know, step over the line. If we do again, well, you know, we'll deal with it. But just to act like, oh, we didn't do anything wrong. Come on. All right. Is there anything else?
I think that's it, man.
All right. So I guess we're going to get out of here.
You over it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You shared a lot of thoughts today.
Did I?
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff, though, man.
Very good stuff.
It's so good to hear your thoughts on these shows, Sean.
All right. Well, I'm sick of hearing myself.
Well, if you want to see Sean in person, you can see him at ACW in Wisconsin Friday, November 30th. Tickets at acwwisconsin.com. And then the next day, December 1st, he'll be at House of Hardcore. Tickets at houseofhardcore.net. Also, go on our YouTube page if you haven't subscribe. There's a new video up. There's one with behind the scenes of Becky Lynch, Sean, and Mick Foley at the Mick Foley Comedy Show. It's really cool. And then there's a figure unboxing with the 123 Kid figure. If you go and you watch this video, share it on social media, use the hashtag X-Pac12360, tag us. I'm going to be giving this figure away signed by Sean in 2 weeks. So this is episode 114. At episode 116, I'll pick a winner for that.
All right.
So cool.
I like that. That sounds good.
And then you could follow me on Twitter at Jimbo.
Jimbo, you giving away shit out of your own collection?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, hook up the fans.
That's what's up, Jimbo.
He has a lot of figurines.
All right.
Awesome. You guys can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. December 1st and December 7th, I will have 2 last shows for this year at EWF, so make sure to follow me on there. And then youtube.com/Denise Salcedo.
So, hey, Christy, what's going on with 83 weeks?
Well, everybody can tune in tonight. We'll be live on YouTube AfterBuzz TV Wrestling and Sports channel at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tonight we are covering, they broke down Eric's first year in WWE, and it was a great episode of 83 weeks.
Tonight Wednesday or tonight Tuesday?
Oh, I meant,
don't worry. They
all right,
know.
well, go back and it'll be
know.
up by now. So go back and watch, subscribe on Apple Podcasts after 83 weeks with Christy Olsen. We have fun.
Have you guys connected with Conrad and Eric at all?
Eric tweeted me on Saturday that we need to talk.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from him. So I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Do you think anyways?
I'm not really sure. I say a lot of stuff, guys. I say a lot of stuff. But he says
He's
a lot of
all right.
stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure he's just fine with whatever
he's my
said.
former St. Cloud State alum, so.
He's a St. Cloud State guy?
Yeah, dude.
Get out.
Yeah,
right.
True story.
All right, let's
Also,
get the what?
We a possible Christmas get together at the Wrestling Guy store. We're gonna work out that kinks, but
Yeah, in the next few
news
weeks
to come about that.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled and ears peeled for that one.
All right, we're getting the hell out of here. Bye. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Sean Waltman, producers Mark B. Donica, Jimbo Frank, and the entire X-Pac 12360 staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. Follow X-Pac on Twitter @TheRealXpac and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com.